What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Friday edition of the Daily Energy News Beat Stand-Up. As always, I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in Dallas, Texas, joined by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, EnergyNewsBeat.com, Stuart Turley. My man, how we doing today?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. And for those people listening on our podcast, I got my Fetterman on again today. But you know what the difference is between me and Fetterman when we wear these?
No.
In the words of Will Smith, I make this look good.
No, you are looking good. I appreciate everybody listening to Stu. If you were wondering, I was interviewing for a natural gas analyst position at Goldman Sachs yesterday. Clearly, with nat gas prices tumbling to $4.60, it was a prime idea to give me a shot. I tease only a little bit. I was driving back from Denver, but as I mentioned, nat gas price is not good. I will cover what that means for the markets and the implications there. Stu has a great show for you lined up. First off, we're going to cover New York City and why their electric garbage trucks conked out after 4 hours of plowing snow. I wonder why. I mean, you're talking about electric trash trucks. I mean, that's what it's come to at this point, guys. We're going to then move over to India and talk about coal demand. Looks like it's going to peak between 2030 and 2035. And according to the Minister of Energy, Stu will cover what that means. We'll also look at Wall Street's biggest winners and losers in 2022. Newsflash, it's going to be a lot of energy stocks that are going to be up. So it's going to be a fun list to go over. You know, this one hurts my soul. Plunging nat gas prices incentivize power plants to ditch coal in a good way, but then plunging natural gas prices does sting my soul just a little bit. And then we will cover why the U.S. electric grid isn't running on 100% renewable yet. I'm sure that comes as a shock to all of our listeners. He'll kick it over to me. Again, we'll cover nat gas and specifically what's going on in the crude oil markets. Looks like some China demand comes out. We'll cover both the nat gas injection numbers, which was huge, and a slight build in the EIA numbers. We'll cover all that in a bag of chips, guys. But first, check us out on the world's greatest website, www.energynewsbeat.com. I promise you it's the best way to get your energy news. If you didn't get coal in your stocking, I'm sorry, considering it's one of the most valuable things you could have gotten. You can learn about coal and all different forms of energy. World's greatest website. Stu does a great job of curating it, www.energynewsbeat.com. But enough of the pleasantries, Stu. Where would you like to begin?
All right, let's get along here. Coming around the corner here, nothing up my sleeve. Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat, says Bowinkle. Okay, let's go to the New York City garbage truck. Okay. New York City electric garbage truck plans hit the wall after trucks conked out plowing snow just after 4 hours.
I mean, this, we almost don't even need to cover the story because the headline says all you need to know. But what happened here?
Okay. The first line out of it is, in a move that nobody could see coming, New York City is scrapping its brilliant idea for their words, not mine, electric garbage trucks after finding out the trucks simply aren't powerful enough to plow snow. Michael, physics is a real issue. Batteries lose their power in cold. Who would have thunk that you could put 6,000 garbage trucks, converting them from gas to electric, and then try to use them as snow plows?
It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. I think this is just, EV policy, and this is, you want to talk about subsidies. This is subsidies gone wrong. I mean, they got funding for this.
Exactly.
This is what the omnibus bill is going to look like. You're going to get a world full of electric garbage trucks that can't do anything. How's that going to work in Buffalo, New York?
And each one of the custom-made Mack garbage trucks is worth $523,000 each.
I could go on and on about electric garbage trucks, Stu. What do you got next?
I'm sorry, that just made my day. I was even if I believe in Tesla and I believe in those, it's just we're not there yet. Okay, let's go to India's coal. India coal demand will likely peak between 2030 and 2035, says the Minister of Energy.
I love it. The Union Minister of Coal. Man, that's got to be a cool job. Now that's a job I want.
But you know what? I am all for the Indian people. I love the Indian culture. I absolutely think that the Indian leadership is doing what they need to do to bring in the lowest cost kilowatt per hour. They're trying to do renewable. They're trying to do coal. They're buying Russian oil at the cheapest they can. They're doing what it takes to get their people power.
I mean, this is pretty crazy. Listen to this, Stu. This is what this article says. In 2022 to 2023, April through October, the coal consumption based in power plants increased to 447.6 million tons compared to 398.2 million tons at a growth, or last year at a growth of 12%. Oh man, talking about making coal great again. India's on their way, baby.
But here's the thing. They get a lot of their coal from Australia, and they get it in our coal reserves in Pennsylvania are guaranteed they're up running again almost at full steam. I just think it's really funny that our coal plants in Pennsylvania are doing better than they have been in years. Anyway. He plans
again. We hope everybody got coal in their stocking for Christmas because it's becoming valuable.
They have 172 gigawatt capacity from non-fossil fuel sources have been installed. But they can't. They need like 14 times that much. So their nuclear is only 6.7 gigawatts.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the next one here. My hat's off to them. Good article. All right. Plunging nat gas prices on this. Plunging nat gas prices incentivizes power plants to ditch coal. I don't understand why nat gas is going down low. This is the first time in, I think, 7 years that this pattern has developed this way. And as a result, Henry Hub nat gas prices are crashed 12% on Wednesday as cold weather cleared out of the U.S.
Just rub it in. Just rub it in.
Now I'm going to bring up something here, and that is, why are the energy prices up in New England? And it's because they got an LNG tanker in last, I think 2 weeks ago when we talked about it. And they had to pay a premium for that LNG tanker. So the nat gas and the energy prices is still up there. It's the pipeline, stupid, that are still going to cause them some issues.
Yeah, I mean, to give you an idea, I love how this article overviewed. We've got major coal companies were dumped today. So Peabody Energy fell 11%, Alpha Metallurgic Resources fell 8%, Ramaco Resources down 8 percentage point, Arch Resources down 8, and Warrior Coal Met down 8%. I actually have a really good buddy who I played baseball with back in college who works for Peabody Energy. He tells me some crazy stories from the Wyoming coal mines. Tells me some crazy stories. He's one of those guys that drives the big trucks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, it's
I bet it ain't cool. Electric.
No, it's not electric.
Just thought I'd ask. But here's something that I find amazing, and I want to ask you, as being a financial dude, even though it says Peabody Energy fell by 11%, I was looking at their exporting and everything else. Exports are up incredibly huge, and they're selling everything that they can dig. So is this an emotion? I'm going to have to go look at the tons.
I mean, I think here's the issue. Here's the answer. Okay. It's, as nat gas falls, is what this article says, people are going to switch from using coal back to natural gas because it's so cheap at $7 an MMBTU. That's kind of the break-even point between should you use natural gas or should you use coal. So part of the reason we've had a complete reduction of emissions over the last 20 years was that switching from coal to natural gas. Why? The introduction of fracking, and all of a sudden there was all of this gas to go around. So what you're now seeing is the same process happen again. And I don't know, and I'll talk more about where I think natural gas is going in my segment, but that's the mechanics here. So now all of a sudden, if natural gas is going to be low, well, coal companies are going to get pounded because there's no, they've got no buyers for their product. Why would there be?
Well, they do, because they're exporting everything they can to Europe. They are exporting everything. Coal is a huge commodity right now on the global market, which means they're selling it at a higher rate. They really don't care. So that's why I was asking if this was emotional. The tonnage.
No, it's not. I think it's pretty long-term fundamental. Like if this is a long-term shift in where natural gas is going to be, I mean, as we'll cover, there's a 213 billion cubic feet injection today, and prices tumbled 12%. As you just covered. So I think it's more long-term than short-term thinking, specifically when it comes to this. But, you know, everything's a little bit of emotion, but I don't think I think this is more of a fundamental shift, which we'll cover about. There's a lot of issues we got to deal with, Stu. What do we got next? I need something good. Let's go to Wall Street's biggest winners and losers. Give me some good news.
Okay, let's go to this one. Michael, here's a drum roll. What was the biggest winning category last year?
Tech.
No. Let's go to energy. I'll take energy for 2.
It's a joke. Tech was down 60%, something like that.
Yes. Brutally.
What was energy? What was energy's top line increase?
Return more than 60% this year, significantly outperformed. No other sector gained even 5%, 55% more than any other. Here was the one in here I loved. Occidental Petroleum has been the biggest gainer on the year, up 122% year to date.
You know how many dividends Warren Buffett, you know how much money Oxy is making, Warren Buffett? It's unbelievable. I mean, at the time, I thought his investment to fund the part of the Anadarko deal that brought that merger together, I thought it was dumb. I was like, you'll never see this money back. Boy, I wrong.
I think,
wow, he has made an unbelievable amount of money off that stock.
Occidental is teed up to take advantage of the next $1 trillion market, and that's CCUS. I love me Occidental. Anyway, going back on through the rest of this, in the third quarter, 81% of all energy companies in the S&P 500 reporting earnings above the estimates, the highest of any sector. Holy smokes.
Absolutely unbelievable. So it was a good time to be a long only energy fund.
Oh, no kidding. The losers were, drum roll, Silicon Valley.
How bad was it? Was it 60? It's got to be bad. Here we go. Okay. Tesla down 70%.
Yep.
Meta down 65%. Ooh. Big tech lost collectively $4 trillion in market value. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh my!
And when you consider the other worst 10 performing stocks in the S&P 500 have wiped out a value of 1.6 trillion, that kind of puts that in perspective.
Wow!
Apple was down 31%. Apple was down 31%.
I would have never guessed that.
No.
Okay, man.
Well,
all right.
That was nice. That was fun. That was fun while it lasted. Now back to reality.
Back to reality. This one, the last story I got, Michael, is here's why the U.S. electric grid isn't running on 100% renewable energy yet. And I think we're going to have absolutely, this article is stuffed with data. This is one of my favorite articles that we got on our feed, and it is, it has all of everything that you want to hear about as far as stats. how much nuclear, how much renewables, kilowatt per hour, how much by percentage that we're using. Wind is 9%, hydro is 6, solar is 2, others. Fossil fuel, 61% in the US. Nuclear, 19%. Remember, we have 94 in our nuclear fleet. We're the largest nuclear fleet out there. So when you take a look at that, that's pretty big stuff. Now, it's physics. Physics. You cannot put renewables on our grid until we fix it. And let's come down here to.
But I think it's the critical thing, in my opinion, to point out is that electricity is the main thing that powers people's homes. People's homes need to be, you need, at least in the United States, you need to be able to flip a switch and light comes on. Like that's like we've considered and attempted to make that a non-negotiable. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in order for that to be a non-negotiable, you have to have a very reliable grid, which is questionable we have, but also you have to have the power to push to it. And the only thing that we have that's dispatchable and in enough quantities to make that happen is through fossil fuels. It's you don't have enough wind. I literally was yesterday. So today's Thursday as we record this. You're listening to this on a Friday. So on Wednesday, I was driving back from Denver to Colorado or Denver to Texas. Okay, get this.
And by the way,
it's a wind advisory.
If you hadn't heard the show, I made fun of you the whole show.
Cool. Well, I'm sure nobody's going to listen to it.
Smack.
I get a wind advisory. Okay. There's a wind advisory somewhere around Amarillo. And as I'm into wind advisory driving,
I bet you saw.
I go by this wind farm.
Yep.
None of them are turning. You're in a wind advisory. There should be ample wind and your blades should be spinning at max power. They're doing nothing. They're off. And it just, I mean,
it's because of the balancing authorities, Michael.
But to think that wind and solar can act as dispatchable resources and energy right now is laughable. It's great for storing up a battery, have a little bit of extra electricity in your home. You know, there's a few use cases for it. Maybe,
I don't know.
There's use cases for it, but not to power the grid.
I think we're going to get there eventually. I like wind and solar, but it's not financially there yet. Anyway, I thought this was pretty interesting. I'm going to hand it back to you, dude. Now that we've teased each other brutally here, I thought that was kind of fun.
We'll jump over here to finances. Overall is actually a great day for the stock market. S&P was up 1.75 percentage points. NASDAQ pops 2.5 percentage points. Nothing more than just probably a little bit of a holiday cheer. Investors getting back at it. Crude oil prices stayed fairly flat. We're currently trading 78.71. I wasn't here to cover it yesterday. You had to suffer through whatever Stu threw out. So if I was on, I would have said we had a commercial build of about 700,000 barrels on Wednesday, which, is neither here nor there when it comes to moving prices one way or the other. So I think it's another reason we're sticking around. I think some of that Chinese oil demand that was supposed to be here, I think it's being tempered a little bit. We saw some reports coming out of China that, hey, we're going to open up, but we ain't that. We ain't opening up that. Heating oil demand seems to be down a little bit more. So I think there's some mixed signals and part of the reason why we're seeing crude oil prices staying. But I think the news of the day and really what bears the most of this segment is natural gas prices. At the time of recording, we're going $4.75. I joked that I was interviewing for a Goldman Sachs nat gas analyst position because I've been a bull on natural gas for a while now. I've been slamming the table and saying, not necessarily that, there's anything wrong, but that prices are going to go up at some point, and they haven't. We're seeing some much cooler. Well,
they called me up and said, we don't want you anymore. We want Michael. So I got this.
You passed me off. You passed me off. Thank you. It's very fascinating. Weather models have turned a little bit warmer, and I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing prices fall this way. We did see a 213 billion cubic feet injection, which is above what analysts were expecting. And so, I just think from a fundamental standpoint, it's very interesting what's going on with natural gas. I do think a milder January, getting a little bit more of this cold weather might be able to help prices. But with Freeport still at the end of January, and if we're talking about regulatory, it probably means middle of February, April. I think it's going to be very, very, very interesting. And nat gas prices may be at the point where, I got to switch my tune a little bit. I mean, again, I can only pound the desk so long before I have to be, just look at the data that's in front of me and say, look at the data in front of me and say, hey, this is what's going on. It was my thing with people who were saying, crude oil prices should be $100. It's like, well, look in front of you. What's going on in the markets? Let's see what's happening. And I think I need to have that type of moment with natural gas because, maybe the fundamentals are wrong. There is a lot of stranded gas here. We can start making that bear case. And I love to be a bear, so it makes sense. Not too much other on the oil and gas side. Things are fairly quiet as we move into Christmas here. I know there are companies busy. There are many companies busy at work trying to get their year-end invoices in. So special shout out to any accountants that listen to this, because we know you guys are grinding here in that last week. Like it's unbelievable. You don't get to take off for another 3 days. So keep on grinding. We'll keep giving you guys the content you want. Anything else you need, Stu?
Nah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and look forward to having a great 2023. We're going to have lots of energy solutions.
It'll be bait. We will not be here on Monday. We will come back with you on Tuesday, guys. So we hope you have a great new year. But with that, we're going to let you get out of here. Hopefully start your 4-day weekend. If you are in the oil and gas business and pumping again, as you were on Christmas, we appreciate all of your work in the energy industry, linemen, pumpers, drillers, everybody. We appreciate it. But we're going to let you get out of here. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We'll see you next year.